Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Ask Mide. Now, I'm really sorry about last week because of the holy month of Ramadan coming to an end. That particular week was just so busy. As you can imagine, for those who celebrate Eid, there's usually a lot of last minute preparations, and I just did not want to rush this episode. Only because the type of questions that I was specifically getting, especially that week and this week, was mainly around green therapy. And I wanted to do this episode justice. So what I have tried to do is I've tried to combine all of the questions that kind of come under green therapy and tried to answer those questions, and also add on a couple of other questions that is really specific to what I am doing this week when it comes to planting or like sowing seeds or weather and pest kind of questions. So again, bear with me. If I do not answer all your questions this week, there is another episode next week where maybe I might just have to maybe even just extend the series because the questions are just coming in and flowing in. So again, grab a cup of tea, enjoy the episode, and I'm hoping that you would at least maybe take away one thing from this episode. Okay, so let us begin. Now, I've tried to write a few of them on my pad. What I'm going to ask, I'm going to read out the questions, and then what I might have to do is just reorganize it so that it kind of flows. The questions that we've had, so again, I'm just kind of echoing the kind of questions that's come through. So it's mainly been about how do I make my mental health stronger. So I'm guessing maybe what tips, especially during the lockdown, has been really hard on a lot of people. And I just noticed a really big increase in clients, and that's just been within, and it's all related to do with lockdown. So that is a really, really good question. Another question is, if I want to start, how can one start green therapy or incorporate green therapy into your like everyday routine? I've had questions even saying, what is green therapy? I'm really intrigued by green therapy. Can you give a bit more information? Well, I would also touch upon that in this episode, but I think what I might have to do is maybe do another video and just really just name it what is green therapy, so that you have a really good overview of what green therapy is. Another questions, quite a lot of questions coming up with what to plant outside, what can be left outside, obviously because our weather is just really crazy this year. So what would you want to leave outside? Have I personally planted anything outside? So I will also be going through that as well. So I'm going to rejiggle everything, and I'm going to start off with what is green therapy. So what is green therapy? Green therapy is a wonderful holistic approach to use, especially if you're in a situation where you might be stressed, if you have a lot of anxiety, if you are dealing with maybe even depression and you do not want to, or you're not ready to explore the medicated route, but you want to try something a bit more holistic first. Or even there are, some clients where they may actually have green therapy alongside their psychotherapy as well. And it can complement each other because, sometimes there are certain, situations where maybe you do need to have maybe some kind of medication just to help ease that transition. And what can happen is some people can maybe then use green therapy to almost manage their symptoms and maybe over time wean off of that medication, like maybe if it's due to lack of sleep or other kind of form of anxiety. Now, when using green therapy, you tend to kind of seek nature and use nature as a form of tool to help you. So what may happen is you can, if you are a milder form, you can kind of use green therapy on yourself. So someone like maybe myself or a green therapist may diagnose you and come up with a treatment plan, and then maybe teach you these kind of techniques so that when you are in those really awful, stressful situations, or you feel that anxiety creeping back, you can recognize it and use green therapy as a way to kind of manage these symptoms. In other situations, maybe you might work with your green therapist on a more longer kind of treatment plan, where week to week you would be taking through this journey of trying to use nature to basically heal you through whatever you are going through. Now, someone who's probably listened to this is probably thinking, but it's simple. If some trauma is causing you to have a mental breakdown, just get rid of it. And the answer to that is, you know, if you're in a situation where maybe it's your kids that's maybe causing this anxiety, because throughout the day it's been a stressful day, you can't just get rid of your kids, you know. Or maybe you're in a situation where maybe you're caring for your in-laws or the elderly, and you know that this is just this specific 2 weeks period, you know, once they are healed, or maybe if they are going back to a different household, you just have to get through this 2 weeks. But you know, sometimes all it takes is a week for your mental health to kind of go down, you know. So you can't just make your in-laws or make the elderly disappear. You know, that's not how life works, unfortunately. So again, this is another situation where I always say, okay, this is the best time to use green therapy as a way to manage these symptoms, because maybe these triggers is only temporarily staying. Obviously when it comes to kids, they are not temporarily. But learning really good green therapy tips can help you on the long run, because again, your kids can't disappear. So I would rather learn skills of how to manage my day-to-day tasks than break down to the point where I may not be able to care for the people around me or be able to function in my work or at home or around my friends. So that's going to lead me to the next bit, is how can I incorporate green therapy into my home? It's going to lead.
So my tips are taking a walk in nature, also bringing plants into your home, and also trying to be around animals and trying to care for them. There's something about animals that really nurtures the mind and soul, and these are my tips.